You don't stop growing. You don't stop exposing, because guess who's behind you? Your competition. Their jaws are out and they're looking to bite your bum. Stay out ahead of them and your butt will never be bitten. And embrace media on a regular basis. Why I choose television as the main platform, because guess who has the money in America? Baby boomer. Who are the people watching TV? Baby boomers. So I got to pitch you to all these channels. Each channel is different. So a book makes it easier using a media calendar. Third is on top of a trend, not a fad, a trend.
If you want to build a legitimate, profitable online business without shiny objects, without the hypey gimmicks, and without the stress and overwhelm, if you want to make more money without having to be present online all day, every day, pumping out content that nobody sees and hustling DMs to generate leads and sales, then this is the place for you. Welcome to the Digital Trailblazer Podcast, your online business university, where you'll learn how ordinary people start from ground zero with no influence, no email list or audience to sell to, and no business or marketing experience, and go from working 9-to-5 jobs to building successful 6- and 7-figure online businesses and all the steps in between. Learn the strategies that worked and what didn't. Learn the mistakes that they made and how to avoid them, and then learn their plans for scaling their businesses and taking things to the next level. All so that you can build your business faster and easier and make more money without sacrificing the things that are important to you in your life. I'm your host, Leah Ray Getz, and with me is my husband, Todd. Now, let's get to it with today's guest. Welcome, Digital Trailblazers. I'm really excited for today's conversation with Mitch Carson. Mitch is the real deal. He's been in the speaking world for over 30 years. He has spoken on stages in 63 countries, produced over 2,000 live events in 19 different countries, and helped hundreds of people to speak and get on stage and land real media exposure. And that's really what we're going to dive into today, because speaking is a really hot topic for coaches, course creators these days. And there's a lot of controversy. We'll get to some controversy, if you will, on media exposure, what that really means, and how to truly get authentic media exposure to help you build and grow your brand and get more exposure. So welcome, Mitch. We're super excited to have you with us today.
I'm super excited to talk with you folks, and I feel privileged to be in front of such a beautiful backdrop of Todd's.
Yes. He does have an awesome backdrop. Thank you. So let's set the stage a little bit for folks. Tell them a little bit about what you do and how you work with people these days.
I take speakers, authors, and CEOs. That's my market, not HR managers or any of the other. It's great to have the other professions. We need everybody in this world to work. My market is very focused. Speakers, authors, and CEOs who realize the value of network television exposure. It's a completely different level. Now, it takes no selling or convincing on my part for people that are 50 plus. 45 to 50 is a different demographic, and under 30, what's a television? I think my grandfather watched it. So I want to understand who's listening out there. If you're under 50, I'll have to explain it a little bit. Think of hundreds of millions of dollars in branding that goes into the platform where you can piggyback yourself on top of them. It's easier to grow when you piggyback than if you go and run down the highway on your own. Jump on the back of a giant, you're going to get to your location faster and without any hindrance. There aren't any animals that are going to bite your legs. If you are on network television in New York City, you've reached the pinnacle. It's like the Harvard of education for media. You're on Good Morning America, something of that caliber, formerly on Oprah's show. You've arrived. That's the ultimate. So let's take a little bit of a step backward. Out of New York, number 2 is LA. Then you have the other markets. Let's say LA is a close second to New York, but it isn't New York. New York is the ultimate. I've been on television all over the world. Still New York, I haven't been in front of. Except for once. I was on Fox National for something I'll get to in a minute. The other satellite cities are what are called affiliates. Just to create the landscape so people understand, they think it's, if you're on Fox News, you're on CBS, NBC, CW, ABC. In Las Vegas, where I live, Oh, my friends can see me in Kansas City. No, they can't. They can see the recording, the MP4, or they can go up to the website after it airs. Yes, you can see it then. Will it broadcast in Kansas City or Cape Coral, Florida? No, you'll have to see it later. Alternatively, I'm sure there are stations in Cape Coral that are affiliates to the big brands. I needed to explain that. However, if you then get aired in Cape Coral on a talk show, or you're covered by a newscaster, they thrust the microphone with the logo around it, the flag that is there, saying NBC, CBS, ABC. Guess what you've been covered by? NBC, CBS, or ABC. But it's an affiliate. It's in the local market. It's like there's national news and there's local news. This is local. And if you are broadcast there, it allows you the credibility, and then you graduate up to then going after the larger markets, e.g. New York or LA. And then, of course, there are the secondary markets like Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta. But the big markets are New York and LA. I think we're all in agreement on that, just understanding. But I needed to create a proper context for people to get that. Oh, that was what my grandpa watched. No, he was watching a local channel most of the time, sometimes the national, like the debates. Here's a current example people relate to. The first debate between Biden and Trump, that was on CNN. The next debate, I think it's CBS or ABC, where he's going to go against Kamala coming up here. That's just in 4 days. I think it's one or the other. That's the national broadcast, not a local. That's national, which everybody can watch because it's the national show. That's a big deal. If you're covered on national news, your broadcasts throughout the nation, everybody is dialed in watching you. It's national. It's great. 3 years, I sold products on Home Shopping Network out of Florida. It was right out of Tampa Bay, where I was on the channel selling other people's products for them. Did that with some of the greatest advertising, personal marketing I was able to do, legitimization, and credibility, because I had 5 million viewers daily. It's hard to get 5 million viewers daily when you're in a local market. QVC and HSN, Home Shopping Network, are national. Tremendous exposure. It's since dwindled a lot because of that guy named JB, Jeff Bezos. And he's interrupted the whole shopping experience from buying from television to now buying online. But when I was there in the 90s selling, which is the Super Bowl of selling, because you get evaluated every minute how many products you're selling and closing. Then it was 5 million. I don't know how many viewers they have today. It would be almost scary to look at, and I'd probably weep. But that's what he has done, interrupted the market. Today, if you are, like I said, 50 plus, the ultimate is selling yourself, being on television, ABC, NBC, CBS, CW, and Fox. I offer people the opportunity to showcase their skills on live television. It's not recorded like podcasts. There are recorded TV shows. I don't put people on them. This is live TV. Must be media trained to speak perfectly in sound bites. Get your message there and allow yourself to be led by trained media professionals. These people went to college. Most have advanced degrees in broadcast journalism. They know what they're doing. No disrespect to other platforms like YouTube, where someone has pimples on his face and decides to open up a YouTube channel. I'm an authority and I'm a YouTuber. Great. And you're 19 years old, go to school, Buster. Then come back and speak correctly. Nose ring and having a tattoo on your forehead doesn't make you a good YouTuber. Doesn't make you a good broadcast journalist either. Television is the ultimate, in my opinion. And I, of course, embrace YouTube. I'm now on your podcast. Podcast, when it first came out, did not have the credibility. There's no way I would allow myself to get an interview and not demean and lower my brand value. Today, I'm very privileged and honored to be on your podcast. I had to graduate up. You put me in the starter. You put me in Little League first before now I'm in the major leagues. I'm on the Trailblazer. You vetted me. Mm-hmm. Same holds true And I appreciate it. I was smiling. I said, know exactly what they're doing. They got to get somebody. They're not going to expose me to the real group. I'm not going to bring in my husband, Todd. You know, I had to go through the filtration process to see if I survived. And it sounds like I did. So now I'm in the major leagues here, sharing what I know about media, being in the media now almost 40 years. Been doing this. I've been on television quite a few times, been in all the major publications, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, LA Times, the Sydney Morning Herald, all different places around the world. And I've learned the power of press. And people would ask me the common question. I hope I'm not taking the question out of your questions you want to ask me. No, when does media stop? Never. Never. You don't stop growing. You don't stop exposing, because guess who's behind you? Your competition. Their jobs are out and they're looking to bite your bum, as they say in Australia, your bum. We say buttocks. Okay, stay out ahead of them and your butt will never be bitten. And embrace media on a regular basis. Write columns. Social media is media today. Podcasting is media. I've done 40 interviews in a month. Once I decided this is a platform, I became a guest. My own show starts very soon. Like I said, Leah, before it was revealed to me that I was going to be on here, I said, wow, I need to get everything in order and understand the value. Before I got on podcasts, I looked at it and said, okay, this is a respected platform. I am going to add this into my mix, and I will never stop guesting. I may not do so many in a week like I did in the beginning. Now I'll do one a week, tops. That's it. The rest I'm going to interview other people. I believe in the platform because it's already monetized for me. Multiple people have embraced what I've done, and it's leverageable. It works both ways. Why I choose television as the main platform, because guess who has the money in America? Baby boomers. Who are the people watching TV? Baby boomers. I be a baby boomer. Say that intentionally. I have a graduate degree, so I can speak correctly when necessary. I'm purposely sounding a little bit different. I am a baby boomer. And that's where the money exists. The people that made the Gen Zs may want to get on a YouTube channel, but who has the buying power? The baby boomers. That's why you want the credibility of TV, because if I'm the decision-making person, the decision maker who's writing or signing the check, old term, sending the Zelle, okay, or authorizing the Zelle, don't you want to impress me? You think my generation, I'm born in 1960, you think my generation respects Bozo's YouTube channel? Probably not. Okay, maybe Mr. Beast, I understand he's got big numbers. He's, that's an impressive rarity. Do I respect your podcast? Absolutely. That's why I got graduated up. Thank you. I've got the right uniform on. I'm swinging the bat. Here we are. Yet the older generation, probably your parents, were watching TV. If they saw somebody branded and had the footage to support television, they would say, Leah, they've got the real deal.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They've got the real deal.
What I think is interesting, because I see this in the online space all the time. I have people, two scenarios that I run into and I want to touch on with you. One is, hey, I've got a new TV show, and they talk about being on TV. And I ask about it. It's some like internet TV. It's some weird thing that they're doing. And I never give them the time of day, because if it's all about audience, and if people don't see what you're doing, it doesn't matter, right? The other one is you'll have people that reach out to you. Hey, we're a PR firm. We can get you want these badges on your website as seen on and all of these different network logos that you can put on there, or that. Can you talk about some of the controversy and some of the ways that people are doing that, maybe not quite ethically?
Gladly. Let me go to a different level. There is a fellow, I will not say his name, that sells Speak at Harvard. Okay, I'm not going to say his name. And I've had speaker clients of mine that I've run through my speaking training, said, I spoke at Harvard. I said, really? What department? Oh, in the cafeteria. It was the Harvard Faculty Club cafeteria. And it had the Harvard logo on the podium. But they were all dressed up in suits and they were claiming we spoke at Harvard. Guess who got sued? The event organizer. You can't pull on the biggest brand in the education market in the world. That's the number one branded university in the world. They know about Harvard in Timbuktu. You can't say you spoke at Harvard. You paid money to rent out Harvard's faculty club cafeteria on a Sunday when nobody was there and put speakers on the stage, took photos, and they spoke for 3 to 4 minutes to a paid crowd. And claiming you spoke at Harvard, there's an example, before I go to the other logos, of fake news, fake press. Where's Trump when we needed him? Fake speaking, credibility. Now I'll talk about the logos. There are people who vend logos. Get all these logos from these TV stations, and what they're doing is sending an email blast press release to all the TV affiliates, the small affiliates around the nation, possibly outside of the country, may go to international markets. If you, like I've ran events in Dubai, okay, they might receive it. They might go over to the Bahamas, also a place I've run events. And, oh, I was seen on Bahamas television? Where, buddy? Oh, I was on their blog post. I sent it to their reporter. I was on Bahamas TV. I was on Dubai One Television, which I have been featured on. My clients have been featured on. We have the proof of the recordings and the airings. Very different than sending out a mass press release and sending this all over the place and getting no response. They don't get a response. All they have to do is show the fax broadcast. Here you are. You can use the logos. How unethical is that? So that's that group of people. And it frustrates me when I see that, because it's not what I do.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the press releases, that's been around for years. And the thing is, people would do them for backlinks. Like originally people were doing that for backlinks to the website in order to, it was an SEO, a search engine optimization strategy to get your website to rank. But the thing is that people also figured out at the time, well, if my press release is getting published on NBC and Fox and all these things, well, yeah, I could say as featured on all these networks, and then it looks like you have more authority than what you actually do. And I think that it's just, it was an easy jump for people to make, and it kind of is in that gray area of, is it ethical or not? Maybe or maybe not. But the thing is, like, it's cheap and easy to do, and it kind of builds authority for people. And that's why we never did it. I mean, we've known about this for years, and it's like, yeah, we could put those logos on our website, but what's it worth? Ultimately, for us, our authority comes from the results that we built in our own business and the results that we've gotten for our clients. And so that's why when you go to our website, when you look for authority, just go to our client results. To us, that's like the most valuable thing to us, is the results that we've got for our clients.
No, I get it. And I agree with you. It's so unethical to me, because I provide real television media training from a pro. I have my own show on NBC. I have a show that airs called Amazing Authorities in the Las Vegas market. It's not national, it's local. And it's something that people pay to be on, to be interviewed by a multi-decades media professional, and you are showcased. And then they get to buy into, then I guarantee, the other 4 networks of coverage. But they've got to be trained before I release them. There's no way I'm willing to risk my reputation because someone paid me money. I'm financially fine. Thank you. I'm 64. I work out of choice. And you are not going to tarnish my reputation by chewing gum when the camera's on, like an individual we talked about earlier. You're not chewing gum. Okay, young lady, get your gum in your hand. I feel like the teacher. No, take it out. Get the hair out of your teeth, whatever it is in there. Clean up.
Yeah, absolutely. So for folks, I think hopefully everyone here understands the value of truly getting that media exposure, getting on actual network television, national, local, the whole thing. What are the actual stages and processes to do so? Like, walk us kind of through what that would look like for someone, how to do it the right way, if you will.
First is, what is your unique twist? First is, what is your unique twist? What hook do you have for the market? Here's what media looks for. If you write a book, you have a unique thumbprint. I can probably craft a pitch around that, as long as it's not exactly the same as Judy's book, but it is your unique thumbprint. I am able to shine any kind of rock and make it brilliant. But that makes it easier for me. You want to embrace a media calendar. Each month, there are multiple events, and if you can massage yourself into that media calendar, it makes it easier as a publicist to pitch you. So I got to pitch you to all these channels. Each channel is different. So a book makes it easier using a media calendar. Third is on top of a trend, not a fad, a trend. Right now, the big trend is AI. What is a fad, just for definitions purposes? After November, there's no longer going to be any political angle to come in. For a short period of time after, you can talk about what happened during the election, but then it's going to fade and we're going to be into a whole new cycle. Anything AI is trending. Started that way, is still trending. You can get an easy speaking job if you've twisted AI, or if you've talked about leadership under the AI, in the AI era, might be an easier pitch than, hi, I talk about leadership. So does everybody else who was a military general. Okay, wonderful. What book have you written? Oh, I haven't written a book yet. Write a book, come see me. Or not. You don't have to write a book. It just makes it easier to be interesting, so they are interested in you. Let me repeat that. Become interesting, so they're interested in you. It's a real simple formula. Don't just come to me with money, because I'm going to say, I'm not taking your money until I think I can help you.
So when you say writing a book, does it matter how it gets published? Could it be something that's self-published that you're selling on Amazon? Could it be an ebook, or does it need to be published by like a major publisher?
Doesn't have to be a major publisher. Most people are going the self-published route through Kindle direct publishing today. And that, if you asked me that question 20 years ago, I would, without even a flinch, would have said you need to be published, because Vanity Press was so shunned back then. And I'm published with John Wiley & Sons, and then the other 17 books I've written are not published. I've used them as bonuses at high prices. It's a strategy play. But I am legitimately published by John Wiley & Sons. I'll show you. This was John Wiley & Sons published. It was on the bookshelves in Barnes & Noble and Borders and every other indie retailer. I sold 14,000 copies of this in America. Then it was translated into German, and I sold another 4,000 copies in Germany. And this was John Wiley, 50,000 words. This is never published, but written. It is a fancy business card. It's one of my self-published books, about 27,000 words, filled with great content, strictly a giveaway for me to impress people. That's how a book comes into play. Could I get on television with this? Yes, possibly. But I would have to use a disclaimer, not available on Amazon. It's only available on my website. It has no ISBN number. This has an ISBN number right here. That is universal identification. This does not, has nothing. My picture on the back when I was formerly handsome and young.
So I love it. Have a unique USP, unique selling point. Have a little angle for your pitch, especially if you can hit on something trending. That's going to help you. Now, talk about the hierarchy and where to start and what you should do beforehand, please.
I would say if you have zero, you're starting at a clean slate. Start writing articles and posting it on your LinkedIn. Because what happens before you get booked, before I can even consider you, I'm going to review. I'm going to make a media balance sheet of you. I'm going to look at all of your media and the social media as well. First thing I'm going to look at is your LinkedIn. Number one. Number two, I'm going to go to, depending on your age, on your YouTube channel, see if you have any videos there. So I can feel comfortable that you're okay on camera. Number three, I'll probably go to your Instagram. If I'm looking at your TikTok, you're far too young to be on my show. Generally. So I would start writing articles and posting on your own LinkedIn. Make sure that they are spell checked, grammatically perfect, and about 800 words. That's the good starting point. And that is a way to get there. Could you start with TV first? Yes, it depends. There are a lot of factors. I could certainly talk about this a long time. But for the easy people, just get started, get familiar with LinkedIn, and then reach out to your local newspaper. You guys are in Cape Coral, Florida. You've got a newspaper probably dying, it's sitting on its last legs. I would, if I were you, free advice, my suggestion, write an article for it. Submit it. Do something. Here's why. It's going to be legacy value. It's going to go away at some point. And if you have a print copy like I have on my wall, front page newspaper articles that were written about me in Manila. I used to run events in Manila. So I was on the front page of the biggest newspaper in Manila. Business section, not the front page on in the business section. I have it on the wall. So when people come to be interviewed on my show, which broadcasts on airs on NBC, they see that and say, wow, how did you do that? I'm glad you asked. Then I pitch. It's proven case studies. Like you talked about, Todd, it's your clients are speaking for you. It's proof I've been there, and I show the pictures of my clients being on stage and being interviewed on CNN. I produced that result for certain clients. People understand that brand. There's no CNN in Las Vegas, but I had a show on CNN Philippines when I lived there.
Mm.
Yeah. I had 16 shows, 16 airings. People were on it. Clients of mine wanted that, came from Singapore, Japan, Dubai, Spain, all over Europe, came to be on CNN Philippines. You would have never watched it because it airs in the Philippines. It doesn't air in America. It aired over there. Is that a credible badge? Just so you're covered on CNN, or if you have the flag microphone in your face with the CNN logo on it, do you think that's good, or is that gooder?
It's pretty darn good. Yeah.
Now, other logos of the stations, which are actually larger in the Philippines, have no credibility for the rest of you who don't know about them, but there were much bigger stations there than CNN. But I made sure we had that as part of our media package.
Right.
And then I had a press conference where every speaker got interviewed by the 9 different newspapers. So it's valuable in English, Chinese, and in Tagalog, which is their native tongue. There. But for you guys, I would strongly urge you, whether we talk again or not, you send me a Christmas card, go find your publication and see what it takes to get published in the newspaper, writing an editorial on whatever expertise you think they're missing as part of it, and say, I will charge nothing. The key is, it's not, they wouldn't pay you peanuts anyway. $50 bypass the money, go for the credibility, put it on the wall, you've been covered.
And then from newspaper going into local broadcast television?
Yeah, local broadcast radio. Doesn't hurt to have podcasts of good quality podcasts such as yours behind you to show that you, in fact, have embraced media, are credible, can hear you and see you before they hire you. Because the number one job a television producer is looking for is what? I'll give you the answer. The suspense is waiting. The answer is saving her job. Next is making sure that the guest is credible. Number 2. Number 3, in terms of what the real primal coverage is, safe job security. Number 2, are you going to be credible on camera? She's worried about that. Number 3, then the most important, which she's not thinking about first, will the audience receive these people well? That is what should be first, but it's not. About saving Judy's buttocks.
Right.
Yeah. Am I able to pay for my kids' college next week or when it's coming up? Do I have a job? Okay. They don't care that it's a favor from Marge from the local Lions Club. Marge isn't paying for, Becky's schooling. She's covering her buttocks. Then she's covering, okay, is this person going to embarrass me or have they already been proven on a video podcast on the digital Trailblazer? I saw them on TV. Oh, it was podcast TV, recorded, but they were quite articulate, clear, commanding, comfortable on mic, weren't shivering and shaking. I can book this person with a high probability they're not going to collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, will my audience be receptive and resonate with their message such that the advertisers are getting their money's worth because they look at metrics? Those are the three levels of thought in the producer's head. It's not, will the advertisers do this? That's third. That's the reality. It should be first, but it's not. It's, do I get a paycheck? Will they embarrass me? And then the reality is, okay, will they resonate with the crowd and keep my advertisers happy? Not many people talk about that. It's about what the audience resonates with. No, Peggy, please be honest. You are saving your butts. You have a paycheck. I get it. Eating's kind of important. Okay. It's not negotiable.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like even with this podcast, I think so much of the podcast world, people expect that you can just apply to be on a podcast or contact somebody and you're automatically on the podcast. There's a lot of that goes around.
100%.
And we've had people where we put them through our interview process and they get offended. They're like, I've never had to do this before. I've never had to have a pre-interview. And I'm like, well, yeah, we want to make sure that we have a good podcast. We don't just, we don't want to waste, number one, we don't want to waste our time recording an episode that we're never going to publish, because we'll do that too. We've found that we've had people who are perfectly credible, but like you said, that third part or that second or third part where it's, is my audience going to be receptive to it? We get done recording the episode and we kind of look at each other and we're like, that's not, I don't know if we're going to publish that one. And it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it does happen. So this episode is definitely getting published, by the way. But
can I give you both a compliment? Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Very loud.
Friday, and I'm very gifting on Fridays. If you did me yesterday, I wouldn't provide this, but today I'm generous, okay? Goes into the weekend. You guys are top of the food chain in terms of podcasters on all the levels. You look like Ken and Barbie. Todd, I look like you at one time. It was like 30 years ago. Okay. You got the backdrops that are nice. You both have full smiles. You have a great presence and connecting, an ability to connect with the guests. You've got everything set up. You put me through a pre-interview. I looked forward to being on this podcast. I truly respect both of you, and the listeners probably respect both of you because you've checked the right boxes. Mm-hmm. You've done what's necessary to separate yourself from the podcast guys or gals who just hang a shingle. They're using their speaker out of their computer. All right, tell me about you. Oh, my word. How boring can you be? Let me give you an example. So I've kissed your butts respectively, nicely, digitally. But it's true. I wouldn't say it. I don't need to. I said it because you guys earned it and you deserve it. The worst interview I had on TV, here's the parallel to one guy did an interview on a podcast with earbuds.
Like no mic.
No mic. Earbuds.
Oh.
Can you hear me? And he was lying down in his bed. And it was his phone. Lying down like this, drool coming out of his mouth. Okay, that's the extreme. Take that, compare it to you folks. Prepared, ready, interview process, vetting process, perfect backdrop. I'm sure you have professional grade microphones. You see mine. I take this seriously. In my background, I'm going to improve after seeing Todd's. Yeah. And I learned from you today. I appreciate it. I like it. Yours is very nice, but it's a bit feminine. And I've been straight for about 64 years. So
True.
No pronoun changes here. If I offend your audience, I'm sorry. I'm very good at all this. Very confused. But I had this interview in Manila. 40 speakers from around the world were speaking at their international speaking conference through National Speakers Association, which is the national organization out of Dallas that had the chapter in Asia. I was invited as one of the speakers when I was living over in Asia. And I, being a media professional, the others weren't. I had that differentiator. I was the last speaker to take the stage, the keynote guy. what happened, one of the local stations, I'll leave it nameless because I have worked with them since, and they're nice people, but they sent an intern. She was a broadcast journalism intern. Come to find out, I was her first interview. They sent her to me, of all people. I don't mean to beat my chest, but I will. I'm a media professional. Susie, to me, who was about 20, still in college or university, as they use the term.
Mm-hmm.
She came chewing gum with her mouth open. I hate that. Okay, chewing gum, number one, doesn't belong in a professional environment, but she was smacking and blowing little bubbles, doing this thing, and came up to me, tapped me on the shoulder. Are you Mitch Carson? I said, I am. Took the microphone and thrust it in my face. Chewing gum, popping. Cameraman is there with it on his shoulder. This is called shotgun reporting. I just looked at her and said nothing. I said, time out. Let's start over. Turn the camera off. So what's your name? Oh, I'm whatever her name is. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, ding dong was her name, I think. I said, look, honey, give me your gum. I was like her father. So give me the gum. Spit it in my hand. Spit it in my hand. I took it, grabbed an Apu, wiped my hand off, threw it in the trash. I said, number one, don't ever interview anybody with gum. Number two, my name is Mitch Carson. What's yours? Told me ding dong. I said, good. Okay, ding dong. First of all, you got to give me some idea what I'm supposed to say. How long am I going? What do you want to ask me? Because just thrusting a microphone in my face is a little overwhelming. And I'm not easily intimidated, but somebody with no experience would probably pee their pants. I said, I, however, need to school you a little bit. That's the extreme example, worst case scenario. And I had the guy who was lying on his side with drool coming out of his mouth in his bed, sirens going off in the background. He was from Karachi, Pakistan. Okay. And I said, buddy, you might want to upgrade your audio. He said, what's wrong if the content is good? I said, everything's wrong. The podcast is over. Good night. Sleep well. Okay. You guys are a delight. Thank you. I don't know. Maybe my eyes are bad. I don't see any drool.
Yeah, no, I think I wiped it before we got on. We're good.
Thank you, Leah.
So I'm curious. So when you're getting your first network television appearances, what type of shows can you expect to get on? Are these like morning shows? Are these news broadcasts? Or what exactly kind of are you doing on these shows?
Okay. For example, ABC television, there are two hosts. It's a 4-minute interview on what is called the morning blend. There are morning blends under the flag of ABC throughout the nation. There are different affiliates. I did the same show in Tampa, not too far from you guys. I don't know where your coral is, but that might be in the ocean. But this was in Tampa with the affiliate there. I did ABC television, the morning blend in Tampa. I've done it here multiple times in Las Vegas, had my guests on it. It is a lifestyle show. They'll also have, before they had the Sparks, which is the ladies at WNBA basketball team. The Sparks were on right before. I met all the players. We were in the green room together. Got to jive with them. They had people that were during Super Bowl. All types of different people were here for Super Bowl week. Showcasing is more of local lifestyle. It's a local Las Vegas show, not national. I must clarify. Now, why is this valuable? Each of them is different. They're mostly lifestyle shows. Getting in the news is a sometimes event. What I say sometimes, one of my clients came out. Sinclair Broadcasting owns the CW and NBC here, the affiliate in Las Vegas. Okay, they have the brand under their umbrella. One of my clients was interviewed on the CW. She flew all the way out from North Carolina. She wanted to get on TV as a starter and then is using it as a leverageable asset to get on TV in her local area, which she has done. That's the whole purpose of this. What happened was she paid me the money to book her, vetted her, trained her. She was great on camera. Then an advertiser pulled out last minute on NBC television, which is a bigger network, which is the local news here, and that has a big following throughout the state of Nevada. Broadcast outside of Nevada, but it's the big closely watched television news channel. An advertiser pulled out with these spots that were right in there. They had a hole in their airing. My client, who had paid me X dollars, small amount of money, was pulled out of inventory, and they slotted her in prime time between 5 and 6. Do you know how much that would be to pay for? Thousands of dollars. And they normally don't have spots. Those are eaten up. This is a 24/7 city with lots of drunk drivings and accidents. There are lawyers everywhere. If you've been to Vegas lately, I don't know, but the billboards are littered with attorneys saying, we get you this amount of money. They pay for those spots thousands of dollars to advertise. One of them pulled out. She got slotted in. The opportunity is there. You just don't know. And it just would have cost my client donuts, $0. So she's now been covered on the CW and NBC. That's a great showing, and she can show the logos, the proof for the local media in her town. Then it's to get on radio shows, which she did. I get people on a live radio show here called Takeover Radio. It broadcasts through the internet. Is it dissimilar? It's not the big name. As you talked about this internet TV before we began the call, which is, is it television by definition? Yeah, it's a camera and you're broadcasting, but it's pre-recorded. And is there viewership, credibility, and branding with it? Some. It's a matter of perspective. I don't have the same. None of us went like this with our eyes. So nonverbal cues are reliable. None of us got excited about that. We looked at it, good try. You're in Little League Baseball. You're not in the major leagues. The networks are the major leagues. I'd say internet TV, Little League Baseball. You can throw the ball. You can bat sometimes. You're not punching it over a 400-foot fence. You're just not. Okay. You might get it out of the infield. Good. Nice, Billy. Come back next year for Pony League. Good.
So with these morning shows, it's only about a 4-minute spot that you're on. Is that
2.5 minutes on Channel 8 here, which is CBS. They're about 2.5 minutes. They spin the 3 big cameras with robotic turntables around, and it goes to the next set. They cut to commercial, next set. It is a machine.
Okay. So you only really need to be good for about 2 to 4 minutes.
2.5 minutes to 4 minutes.
Okay.
For example, on ABC, which is 2 hosts interviewing, which I mentioned is the Morning Blood Show, it's 4 minutes. 4 minutes. They allocate that amount of time. Each show is different, but the least at Fox, 2.5 minutes. NBC, as I mentioned, CBS is 2.5 minutes. NBC, 4 minutes. The CW, 4 minutes.
Okay.
The radio show, 15 minutes. My show, 28.5 minutes.
So for the network TV, it's just, you need to be super impactful, but it's only 2 to 4 minutes. So.
And real logos, real media.
Yeah.
Credible, provable. They click on it. It goes to your footage. Very different than click on the logo and it goes where?
Press release that went nowhere.
Went nowhere. An email. Just an email blast. Hello.
So once you've gotten on those local shows, how much work is it, or how much harder is it to get onto a more of a national stage?
Easier than if you have nothing. I'll start with that. You've got to play. How do you get to Pony League? You got to play in Little League first.
Yeah.
This is high school baseball. Mm-hmm. Before you go to college, which would be second tier, maybe getting on TV in Atlanta, maybe Detroit, Boston, and Miami is a little bit of a bigger market slightly bigger than Tampa. Not that much, but a little bit bigger. Those are, and then third, and this is Las Vegas is second tier, frankly. But it's respected. Why is it respected? It's the entertainment capital of the world. There's a strategic reason I'm here. I have direct relationships with the producers, and I work with the stations. I'm a broadcast journalist myself. I speak their lingo, and then am able to get my clients in, guaranteed in 2 days, 4 stations.
Wow.
In 2 days. Done. Your branding is complete, comprehensive. You get a size 13 on your buttocks. Back to the airport, buddy.
And is it time commitment the same? Is it still 2 to 4 minutes, or is it?
Yeah, 2 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, around the it's pretty similar amount of. They all work off the same. Remember, this is just call it a franchise.
Right.
You're going to McDonald's, the fries are going to taste the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bigger McDonald's than Cape Coral is different than the big McDonald's that's in downtown Miami. Might be 2 stories, 2 stories, but a year is still McDonald's. Fries are the same, hamburgers are the same, and the format is the same. They have a proven revenue model.
Mm-hmm.
Tick the right boxes. But this is a proving ground to then position you as a greater possibility. You can't guarantee anything except death and taxes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay? Maybe gravity. But that's a third. 3 things. But you get on network television in New York, I don't guarantee that. As a publicist, I'm going to say, unless you've got something that's so cutting edge, so incredible, for garner the attention of a producer in New York, good luck. Unless you've worked with the local affiliate. Let's say you want to get on CBS in New York City, which is on 64th Street, right over there near the park, seeing the building. To get in CBS there, how do you do that? Oh, the affiliate out in Las Vegas covered you. Betsy calls Bill, who's her cohort in New York, and says, hey, I just covered a great guest. Her name is Leah Ray. She was just on in Las Vegas, and her husband Todd, and they were on my show, and I think they'd be great guests on yours. Let me say, okay, can they get here next week? That's how fast it is. I got an opening.
Wow.
Or not. Check back in a few months. You just don't know. But if you hear from a colleague in a minor market who credentializes you, endorses you, supports you, pitches you, because you did a good job for her, she's going to call Bill, her Brooklyn buddy, who's in New York working, and he's got a spot and a slot, something different. They're always looking for something newsworthy, and you've got to be interesting for them to be interested.
So with all these different interviews that you're doing, are you doing the same talk on every one, or do you need to change it up a little bit?
No, if you're on different platforms, if you've got a book, you've come out with a new book. I got a lady coming out in 2 weeks named Stacy Chillemi. You could check her. She's written 20 best-selling books on Amazon. Self-published, 20. Not an easy feat. She is a firecracker of a woman, New Yorker to the core. She's coming out here. She used to work for CBS in New York, but she worked in production. So she knows the value of television. She's also in her 50s. She's got grown kids, and she knows the value. She's coming out because she wants her own talk. I'm going to help her create her own talk show in her local market. But it starts here. Starts here first to get credentialized. Then I'm going to pitch her to put her on a show in Philadelphia.
Nice.
The top. Yeah. She understands. Now, she's a prolific podcaster. She interviews 3 to 4 people a day. Prolific. And now she wants television.
What I really like about what you do is it is different. It's that extra level of authority that other people just don't have, because like you said, anybody can do a press release and then do as featured on, so forth and so on their websites, and $300 to $400, and you can do that. But not everybody has the actual clips of being on network TV and being interviewed and have that credibility. That is a differentiating factor that can be that's life-changing in your business.
100%.
Because not everybody has that. And that's really the name of the game. Like you said, something that's different, that makes you credible, that sets you apart from the rest. And I think that if you can, or if you're willing to do that, that's a thing that's really going to help to raise your credibility above everybody else. That, because every market right now is saturated. You got to find ways of differentiating yourself. And I think this is a great way to do it.
Well, I appreciate that endorsement. And, one of the things that does differentiate me from other publicists is my guaranteed angle and in 2 days.
Yeah.
No publicist in America guarantees it like I do. I don't think, unless I get a copycat that I've created. Nobody will, because I innovated this. This was my idea. Because I press because PR agents, good ones out of New York and bigger markets, charge you 10 grand a month with a 6-month commitment. My package is 10 to 15,000, depending on what you get and all of the deliverables, and it's done in 2 days. And then there's a lot of footage and work that I do after the fact, but they are completely, totally branded in 2 days of actual time here.
And the thing is, like, you think about some of the biggest names in the industry, people who sell online courses and programs like that. Like, I think about like a Robert Kiyosaki or Murray Forleo, right? People who got on TV and they made it on a big show and now they make just crazy amounts of money. It was that exposure on network TV and getting on the right shows that really did it for them. So like I said, I think this is still just an amazing thing that you can do in your business.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, Mitch, if people want to check you out, where should they head?
GetInterviewedGuaranteed.com/meet with Mitch. GetInterviewedGuaranteed.com/meet with Mitch. GetInterviewedGuaranteed.com/meet with Mitch. Yes, I was a radio show host for a year on CBS. That's why I say things 3 times.
Yes, that is good. That is good. And we will also have it in the show notes and description. Thank you so much, Mitch. This has been a great conversation.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Digital Trailblazer podcast. For show notes and information about today's guest, head to digitaltrailblazer.com. Now, if you love this episode, if you got some value, make sure you leave us a review and subscribe. And be sure to share this episode with anyone you know who could use help to build their business. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.